Ever since Biden's poor debate performance, he has been in damage control mode. He's been on a mission to prove to people that he can still be the Democratic Party's nominee and defeat Donald Trump. And these last few days have been extremely consequential because Congress is returning to Capitol Hill from their July 4th recess. People are on the edge of their seat waiting to hear from members of Congress to see if they support or they want to see Biden leave the race. And now we've heard from one of the biggest party leaders, AOC, has weighed in, and what she said has sent major shockwaves through the Democratic Party. I'll show you exactly what transpired and break it all down for you, coming right up. Ever since Biden's debate, we've seen a mixture of people calling for Biden to drop out and others saying he should stay in. It's been all over the place, and the interviews that he's held since then have not seemed to calm nerves, including the big interview he had with George Stephanopoulos on ABC News. We've already seen some elected officials call for Biden to step down, with Lloyd Doggett being the first in the House to do so. And this weekend, Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrats in the House, held a phone call where he had Democratic leaders on the line and they expressed their opinions one way or the other. And this was the result of that call.
NBC News has confirmed that 4 more House Democrats have called on President Biden to drop out of the race, bringing the total now to 9. This happened just a few hours ago as House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries led a meeting with top congressional Democrats.
The 4 additions are very significant because remember, this call that House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries convened actually had the top Democrats on the key committees join the call. So you're talking about guys like Jerry Nadler. This is somebody who is the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. You're also seeing Adam Smith, the top Democrat on the Armed Services Committee. You're seeing others as well following suit. And we're told, according to our sources, that on the call, those 4 expressed a lot of concern, specifically with Biden being the top of the ticket. They want to see another nominee. Other sources said that there was overwhelming support, for example, for Vice President Kamala Harris to step into that role. With others, should Biden step aside, certainly not all of them calling on him to do so.
So as you can see, some members of Congress have already made up their mind, and they want to be in the forefront of the group of people calling for Biden to step aside and allow somebody like Kamala Harris to be the nominee. But there are also members of the House that are calling for Joe Biden to stay in the race.
He did have a large defense, a fierce defense from members of the Congressional Black Caucus that were on the call. We're told Barbara Lee, Maxine Waters, 2 veteran lawmakers from California, they defended Biden on the call as they have done publicly. We also saw a statement from another member of the Congressional Black Caucus who was not on the call, Frederica Wilson of Florida, but she criticized some of her fellow Democratic colleagues who are taking this moment to call on Biden to step aside, saying, like many others that I've talked to, that every single minute they talk about the need to replace Biden is a minute wasted that they could be talking about Trump.
Boy, isn't that the truth? These last few days spent focused on Joe Biden and the infighting within the Democratic Party have allowed Donald Trump to avoid scrutiny and criticism. It has been a gift to the Trump campaign. But as you can see, there's a variety of opinions within the Democratic Party, and a lot of leaders have yet to express themselves. And that is where Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez decided to step right into the spotlight and take a position. Listen to what she said to reporters on Capitol Hill.
Has spoken to the president over the weekend. I have spoken with him extensively. He made clear then, and he has made clear since, that he is in this race. The matter is closed. He had reiterated that this morning. He has reiterated that to the public. Joe Biden is our nominee. He is not leaving this race. He is in this race, and I support him. Now, what I think is critically important right now is that we focus on what it takes to win in November, because he is running against Donald Trump, who is a man with 34 felony convictions that has committed 34 felony crimes, and not a single Republican has asked for Donald Trump to not be the nominee. I'm here to win on this democracy. I'm here to win in November. And what's critically important is what the president, I believe that the president needs to do, and I have communicated this, what the president and the White House should do in order to make sure that we win in November. And that is making sure that we pivot and working and increasingly commit to the issues that are critically important to working people across this country. How are we going to expand Medicare? How are we going to expand Social Security? How are we going to provide relief to people's rent and mortgages? And if we can do that and continue our work on student loans, secure a ceasefire, and bring those dollars back into investing in public policy, then that's how we win in November. That's what I'm committed to, and that's what I want to make sure that we secure.
What a brilliant move by AOC. She sees an opportunity to be in the vanguard of those calling for Joe Biden to stay in the race, revealing that she had an extensive conversation or conversations with Joe Biden, which shows Joe Biden being smart about this as well. Get people like AOC on your side. She is getting ahead of all the people who will meet tomorrow with the Democratic Party's caucus. They have a regular Tuesday meeting where they get together and air their grievances. They leave their cell phones behind. Obviously, stuff leaks to reporters, but many Democrats will probably come out one way or the other after that meeting. But AOC smartly getting ahead of that conversation and taking a position in leadership by getting behind Joe Biden, who I believe, and she must believe as well, will still be the nominee in November and go on to defeat Donald Trump. This is a huge power grab and a risky move for AOC, but I like it. This is how you get ahead. This is how you play smart politics right here. We also saw two other members of the squad coming out in support of Joe Biden. Representative Ilhan Omar told a Bloomberg reporter, "Outside a few outliers, I think everybody's supporting the president." And Representative Ayanna Pressley told an Axios reporter, "We are losing the plot. Joe Biden is the nominee." So a dramatic show of force by members of the squad getting behind Joe Biden. And this comes just days after one of their squad members, Jamal Bowman, lost his re-election bid in his primary. There are going to be a lot of disappointed people when they hear that AOC is supporting President Biden. I've seen tons of these coconut memes and people excited about Kamala Harris taking over. But the reality is it would be very difficult even for Kamala Harris to become the nominee and then go on to defeat Donald Trump. I still think it's possible. I think anybody can beat Donald Trump, but it just makes it that much harder. And it shows that what Biden is doing behind the scenes is working. He's winning over these lawmakers. These people would not take a chance on him if they thought he was going to lose. Why would they hitch their wagon to a losing horse? It makes no sense. So AOC making a smart move, and I think we're going to see a lot more people following suit. It's time to end this conversation. We either stick with Joe Biden or we nominate somebody else, but we got to decide on what we're doing because too much attention is being paid to Joe Biden, and Donald Trump is getting away with murder by not being criticized, by not being scrutinized, and every day we spend focused on Joe Biden is a disaster. So this conversation needs to be settled soon, and I think AOC's got her finger on the pulse. So keep an eye out for other Democrats to follow her lead.